Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Vinyltreasure Show. I'm your host, Johnny G, John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday only here on Top Shelf Oldies. I want to welcome you to the December 8th, 2018 Vinyltreasure Show. Glad you can join Johnny G on this cold night here in New York City. It's 20s, like 24 degrees outside, but it's going to be nice and warm tonight on the Vinyltreasure Show. We opened up tonight's show with on Dick Huggy Boy Hugs Caddy record label out of Los Angeles, California, saxophonist Chuck Higgins and his orchestra, a song entitled Flip Top Box. Of course, Higgins started back in 1952 on the Combo label with his tune Chuco Hop. He recorded for a number of different labels through his career. He also has some vocals. I have some on the Dutone label, and unfortunately he passed away September of 1966 of lung cancer, unfortunately, but he left us with some cool sounds like that one on Caddy Records. May 1957, Chuck Higgins and his orchestra with Flip Top Box. Without further ado, we open up here with the vocal portion. I haven't featured this 45 in a while, this girl duet from Harlem, New York. As we open up on Joe Leibowitz's premium label, they are Betty Ann Williams and Rosetta Brown, better known as the Copacetics. This one from November 1956, the Copacetics on premium, and their tune called Collegian.
I believe that's alright with me. I don't want you if you can't be collegian, or if you can't be bohemian. I believe that's alright with me. If you're down and if you're conservative, collegian, that's the thing to be. So be smooth and on the groove, baby.
In a hard to be a collegian, Ivy League or bohemian, all you have to do is get a little wear and tear. You'll get down, so don't be a limit. And get in the rock, of course they dried up with the coconuts. So get on the scene, you dig what I mean?
I believe that's alright with me. Collegian, bohemian, I believe. Collegian, bohemian, I believe.
I consider myself collegian. Yes, I do. Those are the Copacetics. November 1956, released Betty Ann Williams and Rosetta Brown. It's on the premium record label, Joe Leibowitz's Premium Records. You know, he suffered a heart attack, that owner of the label, and all of a sudden now that label just died a slow death after he passed away. Nobody knew how to run anything, so that premium record label just went bankrupt with some pretty rare records on the premium label. Not many records, but some great records like that one. As we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show, it's all 50s and early 60s edition. We go back to the West Coast, posted this one up on my Facebook wall. According to Louis Silvani, this is the rarest 45 on John Dolphin's Cash record label. The group is called the Falcons, probably the same Falcon group that recorded for the Flip label, also backed up a gal by the name of Candy Rivers, probably the same, but I can't be absolutely sure. But let's go to February 1955, the Falcons on Cash. It's called Tell Me Why.
Tell me why, you know,
Groove there called the Falcons. The Falcons on John Dolphin's Cash record label. We got to dish out some cash for that 45 if you want it on original. February 1955, Tell Me Why is the name of the tune. I say that's the same group that backed up Candy Rivers on the Flip label. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. We count down the music chronologically on the 50s and early 60s. And as we stay in Los Angeles, California for this group on Sid Nathan's Federal label. It's their second of 12 on Federal Records. Features 22-year-old Thurston Harris on lead. Let's go back to November of 1953. These are the Lamplighters on Federal and their tune called Give Me.
oh,
of the Lamplighters. November 1953 release on Sid Nathan's Federal record label. Give Me is the name of the tune. Thurston Harris, he's on lead for that one. Thurston Harris would go on to have his biggest hit 4 years later on the Aladdin label. I'm sure you're familiar with the tune Little Bitty Pretty One. Unfortunately, he would pass away on April 14th, 1980 from a heart attack, only 58 years old, but left us with some cool music as we continue here for a Saturday evening. Have a number of flip sides from last week's Vinyl Treasure Show as we pay tribute to the late Billy Dawn Smith. And he was the lead singer of a group called the Heralds. I featured the B-side of that Herald release called Eternal Love. So let's give a listen to the A-side, a song he also wrote. It's on Al Silver's Herald label. Here are the Heralds. They are out of Brooklyn, New York, with Billy Dawn Smith on lead. August 54, Herald Records by the Heralds, called Gonna Love You Every Day.
Love you more and more. Gonna love you more. Ooh, every day. Well, I'm gonna love you more and more. Gonna love you more and more. And I want you to love me well, like I never did before. Like I never did before. In the evening, well, I'm gonna make you feel at home. Gonna make you feel at home. Well, in the evening, I'm gonna make you feel at home. Gonna make you feel at home. And just as long as you love me, well, you will never be alone. You will never be alone. Because I'm gonna hold you until my arms begin to fall. I'm gonna kiss you until my lips can kiss it all. I'm gonna squeeze you until my fingertips are cold. I'm gonna hug you until you feel my hungry soul. I'm gonna love you until my knees begin to fold, until my legs start to tremble and my head begins to roll every day. Oh, I'm gonna love you more and more. Well, yeah, well, I'm gonna love you more and more. And I want you to love me well, like I never did before. And I want you to love me well, like I never did before. Well, in the evening, I'm gonna make you feel at home. Ooh, in the evening, I'm gonna make you feel at home. And just as long as you will love me well, you will never be alone.
August 54 release there for the Heralds on the Herald label, Gonna Love You Every Day. That's the intended A-side of the 45. The late Billy Dawn Smith on lead. As we continue here, we make our first trip to Chicago, Illinois for a pricey 45, and it's the group's debut single, which isn't their best. I'd say it isn't their best, but they have some killer 45s that came out on other labels, States and Blue Lake and Federal, but this one's on Art Sheridan's Chance label. I posted this one up on my Facebook wall wall. And the song is written by Levy McKay, who was their mentor and guided them in the beginning of their careers, got them a contract with Chance Records. Features Darnell Austell on lead. We go to July of 1954 for the 5 chances on the Chance record label. Now, everybody, do not keep your head in the gutter, especially a Lady Linda tuned into the Vinyl Treasure Show. But here are the 5 chances on Chance with a song entitled I May Be Small.
I may be small, but don't let that worry you. Yes, I may be small, but don't let that worry you. Oh, I can do anything a big man can do. I can love you in the morning, love you late at night. Yes, love you in the morning, love you late at night. But you better believe me, baby, I sure can do it right. I'm built for speed, but I can take my time, and when I get in the groove, I'm ready this morning to put you in a groovy mood. Oh, I can do anything a big man can do. So try me, pretty mama, I wanna be with you.
I want to be with you, with you. I want to be with you.
Yes, try me, pretty mama, I wanna be with you. Oh, I can do anything a big man can do.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I want to be with you.
I want to be with you.
Rare 45s here for a Saturday evening. Those are the 5 chances. July 1954 release. Art Sheridan's Chance label, I May Be Small, is the name of the tune there. Features Darnell Austell on lead. They do some great records. You got, if you love a vocal group harmony, that's the group you got to get, the 5 chances. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. It's been a while since I played this next 45. I think it was Rockin' Jim Rigsby, host of the Grinders Grooveyard on KPO Monday evenings. He requested this a number of years ago. This group from Cleveland, Ohio. It was Alan Freed who they approached to get them started in their careers. He brought them over to Chess Records. They cut 2 45s for Chess, and actually Alan Freed wanted parts of their royalties, so he put his name on everything, unfortunately for them. But they also signed with Groove Records and put this single out, written by Sammy Griggs. He's also the lead singer for this group called the Coronets. The Coronets from July of 1955, the Coronets on Groove. It's called Crime Doesn't Pay.
Little Willie's gone.
Yes, yes. How'd he go?
Well, he went like this.
Well,
He had 15 children that he wouldn't support. He got real sassy with the children court. He said he'd never give him a dime. Oh, well, he's now serving workhouse time. You can say what you want to say. You can say what you want to say. You can say what you want to say. But crime doesn't pay. What a shame, what a shame, what a shame.
Oh, Joey's gone. How'd he go? Well, he went like this.
He told a lie about his income tax. He didn't give the government all the facts. It wasn't no crime and it wasn't no sin, but he's now doing time in the federal pen. You can say what you want to say. Yeah, you can say what you want to say. You can say what you want to say, but crime doesn't pay. Stop breaking laws and doing wrong. You got to reach what you sow and your time ain't long. All you people better take heed. You've got to pay for your dirty deeds. You can say what you want to say, but crime doesn't pay.
Ain't dying dead. How'd she die? Well, she died like this.
Uncle John found out she was sneaking around. He got real salty and knocked her down. He put his pistol in the top of her head, shot out her brains and left her cold stone dead. You can say what you want to say. You can say what you want to say. You can say what you want to say. But crime doesn't pay. But crime doesn't pay.
So well spoken there by the Coronets, July 1955, on the Groove record label and RCA subsidiary. Crime Doesn't Pay is the name of the tune. Sammy Griggs co-wrote the tune. He is doing lead on that one. So let's stay on the Groove label. And then last week I featured a group called the Sycamores on the Groove label. The song was called Darling, Is It True? A tune co-written by Billy Dawn Smith. But let's flip it over as we give a listen to the intended A-side of the 45. And it's the group's only release. I have a mint promo of this floating around somewhere in the no humidity basement, but this is my first copy that I spent all of 10 cents on. Has some nasty scratches, but I think it plays okay. You will hear some scratches in it for sure, but it makes it sound so authentic. Yes, it does. It's a green stock copy, so I have a stock and a promo. I need my head examined. Yes, I do, but let's give it a spin here. September 55, the Sycamores on Groove. It's called I'll Be Waiting.
I am the one who's waiting for you. Though we have drifted apart, each day and night since you left, I've been blue. I thought our love was true. What can I do? Guess I'll keep waiting for you, my dear, wishing that you return. Until then, I'll be waiting, just waiting for you. But I hope you'll be true to the one who loves you. Until then, I'll be waiting, just waiting for
Yeah, see, Warren, not so bad for 10 cents, although the mint copy doesn't play with any static at all. But anyway, that's a cool record by the Sycamores, September 1955. I'll Be Waiting is the name of the tune. Came out on the RCA subsidiary Groove Records. And yes, Fred, Johnny G in a groove for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes out of Johnny G's collection. You know, I had when Spence Wooten was alive, he told me, he says, Johnny, if you got any VG minus records, I know a lot of collectors, they only want their records in VG condition. I'm like, well, actually, that's good for somebody who's got lots of flea market 45s, because well, sometimes that's really all you can afford at the time. And I know when I began collecting, that's all I could afford. But it was a lot of fun back then to look for records or other people's records on what they collected. Then sometimes you might find a gem or two. I know I have in the past. Not anymore, unfortunately. As Johnny G babbles on here, let's continue. Here's another flip side from last week. We go to George Gollner's G Label, this group from Queens, New York. I'm pretty sure all of you know this group. I featured the B-side of their third release on the G record label. Nikki Hokey was the name of it. It was written by Billy Dawn Smith and I think William Henry Miller. They wrote that tune for the Cleftones. Berman Patterson, he was on lead for the B-side. Now, the A-side was a sort of a New York City hit for the group, their follow-up to Little Girl of Mine. It was a 45 my aunt purchased back in the spring of 1956, so I like this one a lot. Features Herbie Cox on lead. He also wrote the tune. This was number 23 on WMGM here in New York City. We go to June of 1956. The Cleftones on G with their tune called Can't We Be Sweethearts?
Bo, 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 bo.
Can't we be sweethearts? Why don't we fall in love right from the start? You're the girl I'm thinking of. Oh, can't you see? You're the only girl for me. Please be my sweetheart. Don't you know the way I feel? Please play the part and make my dreams all real. Oh, don't you know I really love you so?
grainy 45s here for a Saturday evening. Gotta be careful on the G's. Some of them are really grainy presses. Others are nice, clean vinyl. You can tell because it looks like there's like little speckles in the wax. And that's recycled vinyl, unfortunately. But that's a great record. Remember my aunt playing that for me when I was a kid. Yeah, the Cleftones, Herbie Cox and the Cleftones, June 1956. That's their third release on George Goldner's G record label. Can't We Be Sweethearts? For sure we can be sweethearts every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Let's stay in the year 1956. For this artist from Pulaski, Tennessee, began his career back in 1955 on the Excello record label. Then he signed with Ted Jarrett's Calvert label out of Nashville, Tennessee. Here is his second for the Calvert label with Jimmy Beck and his band. We go to September of 56 for Larry Birdsong on Calvert Records, and his tune called Tell Me the Truth.
Tell me the truth. Wow, wow. Please stop me from guessing. Wow, wow. Darling, it would be a blessing. Wow, wow. If you tell me the truth. Wow, wow. Oh, baby doll. Wow, wow. I saw him holding your hand. Wow, wow. And I just don't understand. Wow, wow. So why don't you tell me the truth? Tell me the truth. I'd rather be a loser and know I was a loser than to sit alone and watch you come and go. But if you love another and would rather have the other, then I'm willing to let you go. To love. My dreams won't come true. Darling, I'll always love you. So why don't you tell me the truth? Tell me the truth. I'd rather be a loser and know I was a loser than to sit alone and watch you come and go. But if you love another and would rather have the other, then I'm willing to let you go. To love. My dreams won't come true. Darling, I'll always love you. So why don't you tell me the truth? Tell me the
truth. September 56 release there for Larry Birdsong on the Calvert label. His second release on Calvert, Tell Me the Truth, is the name of the tune. I have that by other artists also. I like the song, I do. Larry Birdsong would go on to record for other labels. He's on Decca, Ace, VJ, Champion, which is a division of this Calvert label. Cherokee also, Home of the Blues. Unfortunate that we lost Larry on August 7th, 1990. The age of 56 due to heart failure. We remember him here on the Vinyl Treasure Show as we move on here, and featured both sides of this Los Angeles group's fifth and final single on Empire Records. I played Dreamy Eyes. Actually, we did like a a battle of the, no, it wasn't Dreamy Eyes, it was the flip side, I'm Sorry Now, which we did a battle of the groups. But this I'm Sorry Now really was the second press for this single. Now, the first press of the B-side was A Christmas Song, and this is going to be my first sound of the season for 2018. It features Charles Everage on lead, and they are singing about something you will not want to experience for sure during the holiday seasons. Let's go to October of 1956 for the Youngsters on Empire and their tune called Christmas in Jail.
Christmas in jail, Christmas in jail. Had a little too much to drink. Ain't got no bail, ain't got no bail. And I'm spending New Year's Eve in the clink. I was in the wrong lane, feeling no pain. Souped my car to 75. Ran right into, you can guess who. Say I'm lucky to be alive.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
They're singing down the street while everybody's having Christmas turkey. They give me bread and water to eat. Christmas in jail, Christmas in jail. Wore my shoes out pacing the floor. Got rocks in my head, I wish I was dead. Ain't gonna drink and drive no more.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
They're singing down the street while everybody's having Christmas turkey. They give me bread and water to eat. Christmas in jail, Christmas in jail. Wore my shoes out pacing the floor. Got rocks in my head, I wish I was dead. Ain't gonna drink and drive no more. Ain't gonna drink and drive no more. Ain't gonna drink and drive no more. Merry Christmas!
That should teach you no drinking and driving out there for the Christmas holiday or any holidays. It's not good to drive and drink, that is for sure. So take the word of the Youngsters there. Charles Everage, Charles Everage on lead. October 1956, Christmas in Jail. That is the original flip side to Dreamy Eyes on the Empire record label. And George Mottola's Empire label with Earl Hyde and his orchestra. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the tunes as I'm losing my breath here. A little cold. Let's continue here. Recently featured both sides of this next group's third of four on Leonard Allen State's label out of Chicago, Illinois. I played May God Be With You, and then I think the week later I played Little Man, the flip side. But here is their final release on the State's label, and a favorite of mine, this one from September 1956, Dallas Taylor on lead. Give a listen to the Dandeliers and their tune called My Love.
Ba 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 ba. Ooh, bum. Ba 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 ba.
My love is all I need for eternity. Faithfully I'll always be to my love, to you, my love, my heart. Yes, it's deep in loneliness. Only your kiss can
won't you please, oh please, come on home, my love is all I need when I'm all alone. I'd be happy if she'd come home. All I need is my love, my love. All I need is my
Johnny G gets caught off the mic. Yes, the Dandeliers, September 1956, released. Dallas Taylor on lead. My Love is the name of the tune. That's a great record. That's my a kind of Chicago sound. Definite Chicago sound there on the States record label. Let's continue here. Up next, a song that could be considered, I guess, the sound of the season. Well, maybe a song you might sing around New Year's Eve time. Maybe we're a couple weeks too early with this one. But, we usually make our resolutions at the beginning of the year on what we're going to do. And my goal is to lose weight. That is definite. I have to. I cannot stay like I am because you just don't feel right. You don't. As you get older, it just isn't good. And then maybe Barbara will be happy with that. We'll see. But let's continue here. And this song, and that's what this group is singing about, I guess, when we make our resolutions. It's on Eddie and Leo Mesner's Lamp record label. Let's go to June of 57. We move into 1957 for this group known as the Troopers. The Troopers on Lamp. It's called My Resolution.
My resolution to you, I promise to forever be true. From this day on, let's start love anew. Start love anew. No more quarrels. No more tears. I'm in your sorrows. Drive away your fears. I vow by all the stars above, I'll protect you, caress you, give you all my love. I vow to do whatever you say. I won't run, cheat, no, I won't play that. My resolution to you. Oh, I won't break it. Pray I didn't make it too late. My resolution
Out of California there, Eddie and Leo Mesner's Lamp record label. Those are the Troopers from June 1957, so it's not a holiday record by any means. Song entitled My Resolution, as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. And last week I played a 45 by a group called The Answers. They were on Leonard Allen's United record label up Chicago, Illinois way. The side was called Have No Fear, was written by the late Billy Dawn Smith and William Henry Miller. Well, they also wrote the B-side of the 45. We're going to give it a spin before I file it back down in the No Humidity Basement. It's with Lefty Bates and the orchestra. This one from September 57. They're called The Answers. United Records. It's called Keeps Me Worried All the Time.
Oh, why, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, why, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, why, da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, why I'm so lonely. Tell me, what can I do? I am thinking of no one else but you. There is something on my mind, keeps me worried all the time. Keep me worried all the time. Poor little me, I never get a chance to be in your arms and to share your loving charm. There is something on my mind, keeps me worried all the time. Keep me worried all the time. A love was made by fools like me, as anyone can see. It makes you happy, it makes you sad. Sometimes it makes you wish you was dead. Yes, I want you just to be my own. Why you always doing things you know is wrong? There is something on my mind, keeps me worried all the time. Keep me worried all the time. Love was made by fools like me, as anyone can see. It makes you happy, it makes you sad. Sometimes it makes you wish you was dead. Well, little me, never get a chance to be in your arms and to share your loving charm. There is something on my mind, keeps me worried all the time. Keep me worried all the time. Oh, why, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, why, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, why, da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, why.
Cool tunes here for a Saturday evening. I like that one there by The Answers. September 1957 on United Records, Leonard Allen's United record label. Lefty Bates and the orchestra, Keeps Me Worried All the Time. That is the weather and driving into Newark, New Jersey for your host, Johnny G. And hate that long drive. That's the thing I hate about my job, driving into Newark, New Jersey. Anyway, John G babbling on here. Let's continue here. We move into 1958. It's a request for George Tompkins, this group from Washington, D.C. They formed while in high school, and Wally Roker, bass of the Heartbeats, introduced them to label owner George Goldner. The result were 3 singles on the End record label. This is their debut of 45, written by then a 17-year-old Van Allen McCoy, who was also on lead. So by request, going out to George Tompkins, we go to August of 58, the Starlighters on End, and their tune called It's 12 O'Clock.
It's
It's time to say good night, sleep tight. It's 12 o'clock. Double B apart. You'll stay right here, so very dear, here in my heart. Before I go to bed, I'll say a silent prayer that day by day I'm on my way closer to you. It's 12 o'clock. Double B apart. You'll stay right here, so very dear, here in my heart.
That sounds like Wally Roker on bass there, which is a possibility. Anyway, those are the Starlighters, August 1958, on George Goldner's N label. It's 12 o'clock, the name of the tune. Van McCoy on lead there. He also wrote the tune. Now, Van McCoy would go on to have a very successful solo career, not only as a singer, but also as a writer and producer and arranger. Now, his biggest hit was in 1975, was a 45 that I purchased on the AFCO label, and I don't even know if I did the dance right. It was called The Hustle. Went all the way to #1 on Billboard, but this song way before that, 1958, unfortunately, that we lost Van McCoy July 6th of 1979. Died of a heart attack. He was only 39 years old, but he did so much for this music through the years. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, last week I played the B-side of this 45 by the Crests, their first single on the newly created co-ed record label, Billy Dawn Smith instrumental with getting the co-ed label up and running, and he wrote the B-side of this 45 that I featured last week. It was called I Thank the Moon. So before I file it back down in the no humidity basement, I got to play the intended A-side. This one charted number 15 on WBNY in Buffalo, New York, back in 1958, and it features Johnny Mastro. Yes, Fred, correctly for Mastrangelo. Johnny Mastro at the time on lead. We go to March of 58. These are the Crests on co-ed with Pretty Little Angel.
Angels
That's their first release on the Coed label, Coed 501. The Crest there, March 58 release, Pretty Little Angel is the name of the tune, and that's a pretty cool 45. Let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, and continuing with the flip sides. From last week, I featured Jimmy Barnes and the Gibraltars. The B-side of his debut 45 I played was called Keep Your Love Handy, another tune that was written by the late Billy Dawn Smith along with Otis Blackwell, and Otis Blackwell gets the writer credit on the intended A-side, which charted nationally, did not do well nationally. It only made it up to number 90 on Billboard, but a big number 12 on KQV out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's the first of 3 for Jimmy Barnes from December 58. Jimmy Barnes on Gibraltar, a song entitled No Regrets.
I've no regrets. No regrets, no regrets. I'm living a life of a king. In a lot of places, oh yeah. I'm seeing a lot of things. Even when I'm sad, you still can hear me sing. If it should be, I say, that he calls me today, well, I've no regret for this life I live. I've no regrets. No regrets, no regrets. I'm living the life of the king. No regrets. Been a lot of places, oh yeah, and seen a lot of things. I've no regrets. Even when I'm sad, you still can hear me sing. If it should be, I say, that he calls me today, well, I've no regret for this life I live. No regret. Got a good woman. No regrets. No regrets. Good loving. No regrets. No regrets. Good kisses. I'm living the life of the king. Been a lot of places, oh yeah, and seen a lot of things. Even when I'm sad, you still can hear me sing. If it should be, I say, that he calls me today, well, I've no regret for this life I live. No regret. Got a good woman. Good loving. Good kisses. Yeah. Well, I'm so happy. I wanna shout. I've no regrets. No regrets, no regrets. I'm living the life of the king. Been a lot of places, oh yeah, and seen a lot of things. Even when I'm sad, you still can hear me sing. If it should be, I say, that he called me today, well, I've no regret for this life I live. No regret, no regret, no regret, no regret, no regret, whoa, no regret.
I remember that was another 10-cent purchase. Bought that at the 303 Drive-In Flea Market sometime in the early 80s over in Orangeburg, New York, over in Rockland County. Is it still there? I don't even know if that... I'm sure that drive-in is torn down, but I think they left like the... the facade or the logo that says the drive-in was there, which is actually pretty cool looking, by the way. Anyway, that's December 1958. Jimmy Barnes and the Gibraltars on the Gibraltar label. A cool tune there entitled "No Regrets," and Otis Blackwell, he wrote the tune. I think that was the original for this song, because Johnny Ray does a version of it, and also Little Willie John also covered it. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, one more flip side that I featured in a battle of the songs between the Youngsters and the Shields. That was "I'm Sorry Now," which I think was kind of like a toss-up. But let's flip over that Shields 45. Which is the B-side to "I'm Sorry Now," and it's a cover of a Nat King Cole song that came out back in 1948, and this was the follow-up to the group's biggest hit, a song called "You Cheated." This is Frankie Irvin. He's on lead. This one from October 58. The Shields on dot with their version of the tune "Nature Boy."
There was a very strange, enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far over land and sea. A little shy and sad of eye, but very wise was he. And then one magic day, he passed my way, and as we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Nature boy.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Shields. The Shields, Frankie Irvin on lead there, October 1958, their version of the tune "Nature Boy." And you heard that high falsetto in the back. That's Jesse Belvin in the background there. Also does the high falsetto on "You Cheated." Now, the first press is on the Dot label. Tender came out, the second press about a month later. They issued it on Tender Records. Now, this one charted regionally. This was number 26 on KOL out of Seattle, Washington, back in the fall of 1958. John G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue. We are in the year 1958. This next artist, he hails from Indianapolis, Indiana. He had this one release on Jerry Herman's Note label, which would later get picked up by ABC Paramount record labels for national distribution. Actually, ABC Paramount issued this twice. Don't know why. In March of 58 1958, and again, I think, in 1961. His real name is Ronnie Hege. Ronnie Hege, Hege, but he changed it to Ronnie Haig, and he wrote both sides of this 45. I'm featuring the intended B-side, featuring it on the ABC Paramount label, although I do own all three. As you know, Johnny G is a completist. This one from March 58. Give a listen to Ronnie Haig on ABC. It's called Traveler of Love. Mr. Ronnie Haig. Ronnie Haig there, March 1958, featured the second press. Actually, that comes three ways. That's the second way. ABC Paramount Records, Traveler of Love is the name of the tune. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we move into 1959 now, and on last week's show I played a 45 for American Bandstand host Dick Clark. He would have been 89 years old on November 30th, but passed away April 18th, 2012 at the age of 83. I played a group known as The Gates on the Peach label. It was called Letter to Dick Clark. Now, the B-side also mentions Bandstand, not to mention it's got some cool rockin' guitars in the background. It's out of Douglasville, Georgia. It features Bobby Ferguson on lead. We go to February 1959 for this group known as The Gates. It's on the Peach label. It's called Wrapped in Green, Made for a Teen.
My little girl goes dancing, dancing every day. She does the bop and stroll on Bandstand USA. My little girl goes dancing, dancing every day. She does the bop and stroll on Bandstand USA. If you want to see her, oh, what a queen. Just look for the chick, the one that's all dressed in green. My little girl goes dancing, dancing every day. She does the rock and roll on Bandstand USA. She's my teenage queen. She's all dressed up in green. She's wrapped in green. she's made for a teen.
Queen of the hop. My little girl goes dancing, dancing every day. She does the bop and stroll on Bandstand USA. If you want to see her, oh what a queen, just look for the chick, the one that's all wrapped in green. Ah, go little teenager. Ah, she got on green short shorts, got on green rock and roll shoes. Ah, she's all wrapped up in green. Let's do the bop, baby.
That's the second of two for the Gates. The Gates from February 1959. Bobby Ferguson, he's on lead. Had a rockin' guitar there, which Johnny G likes. The Gates with Wrapped in Green, Made for a Teen. On the Peach record label. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening spinning original vinyl 45s. We do it every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. Those of you that are in the webcam, you saw this record that I held up had no label, but unfortunately that's the way it came. I only had the B-side of the label, unfortunately, but it's a rare 45. Only paid $50 for the record. Got it from record dealer Jerry Smith from the New England area, but the problem with the record is that it's missing the label, and with styrene presses sometimes the glue dries so much that those paste-on labels just flake off. They just fall off, and that's what happened with this 45. Now the A-side has no label. I do have the B-side with a label intact. Actually, this 45 was pressed two different ways with two different group names. The first presses of the record came out as the Champs, but due to litigation with the Champs that recorded Tequila on the Challenge label, this group had to change their name, so they were forced to change their name to the Mystics. But my flip side says the Champs, so I'm assuming that this is the first, but I have no label on the front, so what are you going to do? But it's a great sounding record. It's from June 59. Let's give it a listen. The Champs on Chatham with a song entitled Teenage Sweetheart.
I walk around with my mind going apart, trying not to forget my teenage sweetheart. You're my teenage sweetheart. I keep hoping that we will never part.
May you always stay sweet as you are, and be my teenage sweetheart.
Yeah. Yes, rare 45s without labels. Yeah, actually, I should just get somebody to who has that record with the Champs on it, so maybe I can get a scan. I can actually glue it on there. It's better than nothing, but it looks kind of corny without a label there, but unfortunately that's the deal. The Champs there, June 1959 release on the Chatham label. Teenage Sweetheart is the name of the tune, and that's a great record there. Yes, Daryl, too bad that the that the Mystics weren't out at the time, possibly, of that release in June of '59. I don't know, when did Hushabye come out? I don't know. Anyway, John G. babbling on here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. We are in the year 1959. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the hit on the Dore label by Jan and Dean, a song entitled Baby Talk. But did you know that that was a cover? That is not the original. The original was done by a group from the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn, New York. It was written by group member Melvin Schwartz. Now, the group included a guy by the name of Steve Schatzberg, who I've spoken to over the phone a number of years ago. His wife Vivian emailed me. I was on Facebook, and I got an email that she mentioned to me that her husband sang in a 50's vocal group, and I was intrigued. So she gave me the phone number, and I spoke with him. He mentioned that he was in a group called the Laurels. And I said, the Laurels that recorded Baby Talk? The Baby Talk on the Spring label? He says, yes, that was his group. And I was like, holy mackerel. And then he told me that his group evolved into Tex and the Checks, which was another interesting thing. So anyway, I've spoken to him a number of times, and I understand he's still singing down in Florida. He relocated from New York to Florida a number of years ago. But I sent his wife Vivian an email and told her that I'd be playing his record tonight. And I put the scan up on my Facebook wall so you can see it. I got the original copy of this when it came out. It came out on eBay a number of years ago because I had a trashed copy of it, and I ended up getting this mint copy. So we're going to send this one out to Steve and Vivian Schatzberg, and this features a lead singer, Roy Robinson. He's on lead. This is earlier in 1959, the Laurels on Spring, with the original version of Baby Talk.
Well, I am only 5 years old and my baby 3, but I know that she's a girl, just you wait and see. And when I say I love my girl, she replies to me that, which means to say she loves me.
In Baby Talk.
She loves me. She cannot speak very well, everybody knows, but to me she looks real swell in her baby clothes. I ask her if her love is true, and her answer goes that, which means to say she loves me.
In Baby Talk.
She will say to me when I kiss her on the cheek, oh
That's the original version of the song Baby Talk. You may know it by Jan and Dean, but originally it was done by the Laurels, 1959 on Spring Records. That's the name of the tune, the original Baby Talk. Now, the Spring label is a sister label to Leo Rogers, Monty Bruce, and Lee Silver's Power label. And with a new singer, this group, of course, became Tex and the Checks. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes for a Saturday evening. Got to say hi to my cousin Jay, who is in the he's in the video stream chat. There's a video stream chat room that you could enter into. I got 12 people watching Johnny G there right now. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we move into 1960 now. We go to California, back to California. We're going to send this one out to a listener, George Thompson, and this group is known as the Brentwoods. The lead singer for this group, his name is Warren Joyner, who wrote this tune. Came out on Lou Bedell's Dore record label. We go to July of 1960, the Brentwoods on Dore, and their tune called Midnight Star.
Once upon a dreamy midnight star, I wish that I could be where you are as I gaze at the star in the sky. I remember, darling, when you were mine, your face so pure, like heaven divine. When you left me, why did you hurt me so? As I gaze at stars above, when I knew that you still loved me. As I gaze at stars above, then I knew all my dreams had come true. Upon a dreamy midnight star, I know that I will be where you are as I gaze at the star in the sky.
We'll send that one out to Lady Linda, currently in the Top Shelf Oldies chat room, and also in the video chat. She's looking at Johnny G. She likes that tune by the Brentwoods. July 1960 release. Lou Bedell's Dore record label. Midnight Star is the name of the tune. Now, Warren Joyner, he co-wrote the tune. He's the lead singer. Now, this group, the Brentwoods, their name was derived after a street where they used to rehearse. Now, this song also came out on the Aries label in 1961 by a group called the Misfits, who, in my opinion, really are this Brentwoods group. But the lead sounds exactly the same, but the song, the tempo is a little bit different. I think it's a little bit faster than this Doré release, but definitely the same lead, Warren Joyner on lead. That's Johnny G's spin on that. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We are here from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. We are in the early 60s now. Now here's a song I first heard on Christy Masios's Uncle's Henry's Basement Show. And sometime in the early 1990s, record dealer Mike Demersion, he used to give me cassette tapes when I used to go up to the Waterbury, Connecticut show, the cassette tapes of Christie's Uncle Henry Basement shows. I have quite a bit here at the house. I don't have a player to play them on. But anyway, I used to go to that Waterbury show now, and here's a song I first heard on that show. The group, though, is out of Chicago, Illinois, as the first release of this came out on the USA label in late 1959, but then Lou Bedell picked it up for his Doré record label. It was written by group member James Steele and the lead singer. His name is Joe Brackenridge. He is on lead. This release is from January 1960, back to Doré Records, a twin spin on Doré. These are the Von Gales with a dance. It's called The Twirl. That record makes me want to cha-cha. Charlene is cha-cha-ing with Johnny G. Diane Devitt, too bad, used to be my cha-cha partner. But those are the Von Gales. That's the second press of the 45 on the Doré label. January 1960, a song entitled The Twirl. I have a mint copy on USA. That record, I think that's my first copy. Ted Artkowski. Wonder how he's doing. He sold me that record. Only paid $10. Many years ago. He said it's a VG that plays well. I don't know about that. Anyway, John G here for a Saturday evening as we continue. Have another flip side from last week's Vinyl Treasure Show. I featured the A side of this Cress 45, a song entitled Isn't It Amazing? Another Billy Dawn Smith pen tune. Now, the B-side is actually a recycled flip side that first came out as a B-side back in May of 59 as the B-side to Flower of Love. It's back now as a B-side in September of 1960 as the flip of Isn't It Amazing? Again, it features Johnny Mastro on lead. This one by the Crest, September 60, Coed Records. It's called Molly May.
soothe me, then my heart would be light, and I'd say every night, I love you. I love you. Oh, Molly may be true. No dating, I am all for you. Keep waiting, send a kiss now and then, till I see you again. I'm dreaming of you. The picture we took together before I went away, I carry in my wallet to look at every day. Oh, Molly May, my sweet Molly May. Sincerely, Molly May, I love Molly May. You dearly, I will hope and I'll pray no one steals you away. Molly May, Molly May, Molly May, Molly May. Oh, Molly May, Molly May. Oh, I will hope and I'll pray no one steals you away. Molly May, Molly May, Molly May, Molly May, Molly May.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That sounds like the end of a 16 Candles. Very much so it does. That's a cool tune. Molly May by the Crest. Johnny Mastro on lead, September 1960 release on the Co-Ed record label. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, here's another sound of the season, this time on Vince Rago's Universal label out of Wilmington, Delaware. He also was the owner of the Ritchie label, but he wrote this song for Lonnie and the Crisis. Billboard reviewed this record December 4th of 1961, called it wild, high-voiced kiddie lead featured on this rock and roll holiday tune. Gimmick bomb voices permeated in the background, a lot going on, and this side may have a chance. So let's give it a whirl. Originally released in November of 1961, Universal Records, Lonnie and the Crisis with a sound of the season, Santa Town, USA.
Bow, 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 bow.
as Lonnie and the Crisis with a sound of the season. Sanatown, USA, November 1961 release on the Universal record label. Some of you collectors may own this either on the Times Square label. You can get it much cheaper on Times Square. I think also came out reissued also on the Relic label. Johnny G, here we are spinning records from the year 61, although we're going to go out of sequence a little bit here for this special request for Métis Camp Boy. Not an easy 45 to find on the Chart record label out of Los Angeles, California. It's she requested a cover song recorded in 1956, originally by The Clicks, a.k.a. Jesse Belvin and Eugene Church, on the Modern record label. The odd thing about this release, though, which is from 1963, is that it credits the estate of Jesse Belvin. That's the writer credit on this record, as Jesse Belvin. He was killed in an auto accident February 6th of 1960. Now, this record came out in April of 1963. It's called Chart Records. It was owned by Kim Fowley, and he claimed that this duo were the nephews of the late Jesse Belvin. So by request for Métis Camp Boy, here are Robert and Bobby. Robert and Bobby from April 63 on Chart, and their rendition of the tune Girl in My Dreams.
Girl, my dream, where are you? Girl, my dream, I'm so blue, doo-doo-doo-doo. How I yearn, how I long for you. If I could just hold your hand, surely then you would understand that it's you I adore forevermore. A love like mine is hard to find. It's fire, it's a raging flame. Although you won't hear my plea, that love is raging, just the same. Girl, my dream, what shall I do? Girl, my dream, I'm sad and blue, doo-doo-doo-doo. Can't go on without you. Girl, my dream, girl, my dream, girl of my dream.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show by request for Métis Camp Boy, currently in the chat room, the video chat room. Special request for her. She wanted to hear that Robert and Bobby version of Girl of My Dreams. I said in my dreams. It's Girl of My Dreams. It's on the Chart label, April 1963 release. I was surprised I had the record. And who sold me this? Jerry Diaz from California sold me this record. And the other side's good too. We're going to play that for Métis next Saturday night. We'll hear the flip side of that. A great record. Great requests. Métis, thank you so much for your request. Now, Kim Fowley, he would introduce them to Capitol Records producer Nick Vanette, who recorded them as the Uniques. I think they do a song called Blue Skies, which actually is a good record that they do. The Uniques, they're called Blue Skies later in 63, but we'll play the flip side for Maria in next Saturday evening. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we are in the early 1960s. Up next, the group from Washington, D.C. They first recorded as the Bobolinks on the Hi-Ho label, but then they decided to change their name to the Memories, and this is the intended A-side of a 45 that came out on Wayne Bramble's Waylon record label. We go to 1961 for this group called The Memories on Waylon. It's called Love Bells.
Love bells, love bells, ring a 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 ring dong, ring a 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 ring dong. Love bells ring out for you and I always want you in my west side. I love you, baby. Please come and be my guide, be my guide. The church of ring, come be my bride. I'll always want you, please beside. I love you, baby. Please come and be my guide, be my guide. Love bell ring out for you and I always want you deep beside. I love you, baby. Please come and be my guide, be my
That's a rare white group sound there by a group called The Memories. The Memories from 1961. It's called Love Bells, and it's on a label called Waylon Records. Cool 45 there as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Is Johnny G's voice still holding up? Yes, it is. This next 45 used to be pretty big with the early collectors of vocal group harmony, at least the early collectors of vocal group harmony, and it was released in 1963, but it sounds so much like a 1950s song, but it was doomed from the start, unfortunately. The group is out of Chicago, began recording in 1959 on the Profile label. When several of the members were called to military service, the group broke up, but 2 years later, they reformed, and the result was this release on the Salem label. It features Claude Little June Johnson on lead. I'm featuring the intended B-side of the 45 from 1963. It's Little June and his Januaries on the Salem label with a song entitled Hello.
I
Sound of 1963, although it doesn't really sound like it, does it? But it's Little June and the Januaries, and Little June is Claude Johnson. He is on lead there. Hello is the name of the tune, came out on the Salem record label. That is the B-side of the 45. The A-side is something about food, like hamburgers and something else. Anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We are continuing here with the early 1960s. Now, last week I featured this group from the state of Tennessee. They were called the Paramounts. Robert Knight of Everlasting Love fame was a member of this group. Now, the side I played was an original composition they did called You're 17. But let's give a listen to the flip side, which is the intended A-side. It's a cover song originally recorded by the Turbans back in 1955 on Herald Records. This is the second of two for the Paramounts on the Dot labels from March of 61. The Paramounts with their rendition of the tune When You Dance.
Oh, when you dance, be sure to hold her tight. Oh, when you dance, you squeeze her, yes, with all your might. Search your thrill, oh, when she's close to you. Well, hold her tight.
When you
Oh, when you dance, feel the warmth of her embrace, and then you know your love is there, yes, to stay. Search your thrill, oh, when she's close to you. Well, hold her tight.
when you
You may do or a more tango, one more till your soul I spend. Right, so turn down low. When you dance, be sure to hold her tight. Oh, when you dance, you squeeze her, yes, with all your might. Search your thrill, oh, when she's close to you. Well, hold her tight.
when you
Cover tunes here on the not 60s edition, 60s part of the Vinyl Treasure Show, the Paramounts there. March 1961, When You Dance is the name of the tune. It's on the Dot record label. I think their other record is also a Turbans cover, if I'm not mistaken. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We do it every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. This next 45 is a very rare 45. My understanding there are only 5 or 6 copies of this 45. Came out on Eddie DeMello's Edmar label, and this label is out of Hamilton, Bermuda. I posted this up on my Facebook wall. The writer says it's Al Casey, and I'm assuming that this is the well-known guitarist, pianist, band leader, and producer. It's gotta be, no, but maybe not, but who knows? It could be. But anyway, let's give this one a spin. I don't know much about the group. They're called the Golden Tones. It's again from 1963. The Golden Tones on Edmar. It's called Till Death Do Us Part.
Would you love this woman till death you both part?
Bet you never heard that 45 before, by the Golden Tones. 1963 on the Edmar label. It's out of Hamilton, Bermuda. Hamilton, Bermuda, a place I've never been. Maybe you have, but it's Till Death Do Us Part, and it's almost time to part. We are now in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Let's continue here. Here's another flip side from last week's show. I featured a tune by Johnny Maestro now. It's Maestro. He's changed the spelling of his name. I featured the tune called IOU. By this time, 1961, has changed the spelling of his name from Mastro to Maestro. I never noticed that until Fred pointed that out to me. So that is a truth. But the flip side is a cover. IOU is a cover that goes back to 1936. But in the 50s, this song was recorded by oh so many groups. The Jaguars come to mind, their version of the song. But let's give a listen to Johnny Maestro's version. This one from September 61. Johnny Maestro on Coed Records, and his rendition of the tune, The Way You Look Tonight.
The way you look, whoa, whoa, you look tonight. Whoa, whoa, the way you look, whoa, whoa, you look tonight.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of and the way you look tonight.
The way you look.
Oh, but you're lovely, with your smile so warm and your cheek so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you, just the way you look tonight.
The way you look, whoa, whoa, you look tonight. Whoa, the way you look, whoa, whoa, you look tonight.
With each word, your tenderness grows, tearing my fear apart, and that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. Lovely, never, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause I love you, just the way you look tonight.
The way you look, whoa, whoa, you look tonight. Whoa, whoa, the way you look, whoa, whoa, you look tonight.
Just the way you look tonight.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Johnny Maestro, September 61 on the Coed record label out of New York City. His rendition of the tune, The Way You Look Tonight. Hopefully Johnny G looking okay in the webcam. Linda wants me to put my face on the webcam. We don't do that unless we have guests here in the studio. Then we can do it, or Barbara comes over and works the webcam. But anyway, let's continue here. Let's flip over another 45 I played last week by the Harp Tones. Came out on the Companion label. Their second for the label. I featured the A-side co-written by Billy Dawn Smith, a cool record that I like called Foolish Me, but I also like the B-side from May of 61. Willie Winfield is on lead. These are the Harp Tones, Companion Records. It's called Wet... Wait, I wrote that wrong. What Will I Tell My Heart?
I'll try to to explain to friends dear the reason we two are apart. I know what to tell our friends dear, but what will I tell my heart? Oh, it's easy to say to strangers that we played a game from the start. It's easy to lie to strangers, but what will I tell my heart? When I smile too high, all the tears inside, what an ache it will bring. Then I'll wander home to a telephone that forgot how to ring. I say now I could say you'll soon be back, dear. To fool the whole town may be smart. I'll simply tell them you'll soon be back, dear. But what will I tell my heart? I say what will I tell my heart? What will I tell my
That's a nice B-side there by the Harp Tones. Willie Winfield on lead there, May 1961. It's on the Companion label, song entitled What Will I Tell My Heart. As we move on here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, we move into 1962 now. Played a request last week for Stephen Kahn on the Tulip label, a rare 45 out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, by a group known as the Fabulous Uptones. The side I played was called New Love I Have Found, sort of like, it sounded like the New Year's Eve theme anyway, but that was side 2. Let's give a listen to side 1, as it's a dance. What we did the twirl earlier, and this one is called it's not the turtle, it's just called Turtle. What kind of dance would the turtle be? Anyway, it's from April 62, the Fabulous Uptowns on Tulip, and a song entitled Turtle.
There's a new dance that just hit town. It's called the turtle. It's going round and around. Not very hard to do. Just watch us and we'll show you.
doesn't sound like a slow dance, sounds like a fast dance. Anyway, that's The Turtle by the Fabulous Uptowns, April 1962, Tulip Records. Daryl Letts, you said that it charted what, in Pittsburgh possibly, but I don't know, maybe that's the side no, that's not the side they played. The other side is the doo-wop-y side. That's more of the, I don't know, dancing side. Johnny G babbling on here. As we continue, we are in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. We'll go for a couple more records here. Up next, a girl group that formed at Fremont High School in Los Angeles, California back in 1961. The person who formed the group, her name was Uma Hurd. They met up with H.B. Barnum and recorded as the Sweethearts for the High 3 record label. They had 2 releases on High 3. I like their second one, What Is Love, great record that they do. Then the group changed their name to The Utmost for a Gaynell Hodge produced song on the Panor label, written by Uma Hurd, but she's not on lead. Someone by the name of Carlotta Robertson is doing lead. This one from 1962. The Utmost is the name of the group, Panor Records. It's called I Need You. (1962) release there for The Utmost, girl group out of California on the Panor record label. I Need You is the name of the tune. Carlotta Robertson, she's on lead. Carlotta was previously a member of the Chiffons that recorded on the Big Deal label. That's not the same group that recorded He's So Fine. That is another group. And she was also a member of the Unforgettables that recorded for Copacetic Records. Johnny G got 2 more 45s to go before we sign off here. here. And on last week's show, I played a request for Métis Campboy. She requested Linda and the Del Rios and a song entitled I Don't Want to Be Loved, Not by Him. That was the intended B-side. Let's flip the 45 over, give a listen to the A-side before I file it back down. In the No Humidity Basement, it features Linda Steele on lead. This is on Juggy Murray's Cracker Jack label, January 1962. Linda and the Del Rios on Cracker Jack. It's called Come On, Let Me Try. January 1962 release there for Linda and the Del Rios. Came out on Juggy Murray's Cracker Jack record label. Come On and Let Me Try is the name of the tune. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with Johnny G, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Been recording this one on the YouTube live broadcast. It will post up on YouTube automatically. They run it through a filter. Had a problem last week. They did not like the Solitaires Walking Along that I played, so they banned my video worldwide, and I had to remove that record. They have a program to do it, but I lost all the chat, and I know there were some requests in the chat which kind of pissed me off. It did, if I can say that. But anyway, also you can go to vinyltreasures.net. That is my website. I also have a stream of the show there, so you can download it or play it live there on my website. But our closer tonight is out of New York City. It's on the Heidi label. Heidi label was located at 271 West 125th Street. So, Linda, do you know where that is? I'm sure you do. But it's a group called the Yeomans. The Yeomans, it's a tune arranged and conducted by Bert Keys. This record was number 29 on WDEE in New Haven, Connecticut. And it's from September of 1965 by the Yeomans on Heidi. It's called I'm the Guy. And I'm your guy for Saturday night from 10 to midnight and a little longer. It's almost a half, 23 minutes longer. But anyway, that's going to do it, folks. Please tune in tomorrow evening for my buddy Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities show. Dave is on from 9 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies and all the shows during the week here on Top Shelf Oldies. But I'll be back next Saturday from 10 to midnight right here with more great 45s out of my collection. And I want to thank you, Charlene, for helping me again last minute. It was a busy week for me. Going to have a busy couple weeks at work, so we'll see how that goes. And hopefully the weather will be good, and hopefully everybody will have a safe and happy week. So I'll see you here next Saturday from 10 p.m. till midnight. Just want to say, everybody, so long.
Can't you see it in my eyes? Gee, I feel like I want to cry. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to have to cry. Sometimes I feel like I want to die. I'm the guy who lost his love. I'm the guy, and I tell you no lie. I have a hurt, and it's deep down inside. Can't you see it in my eyes? Gee, I feel like I want to cry. He's the guy, he's the guy, he's the guy, pretty baby.
Adios, folks. This isn't on the Top Shelf Oldies side. This is on the Ustream side. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Much appreciated that you tuned in. Hopefully you like the tunes. I really like this song at the end by the this soulful song here by the Yeomans. It's a plug side. It's called I'm the Guy. And I'm your guy for Saturday night, so I'll see you next Saturday. Hope you enjoyed the tunes there. Charlene, thank you so much. Last minute, I know I get you the records last minute to help me research, but I much appreciate it. I do. And I appreciate all you tuning in, watching me here on the YouTube broadcaster. So I'll see you next Saturday. Take care, everybody.